Yes, master.
Rise. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Extreme Collectibles here with a rail, W-R-A-I-L. So it's a mix between a grail and something I really wanted. To me, grail is tossed around too often, so I'm coining this new term, hashtag rail, copyright, Extreme Collectibles. Rail is a piece I really wanted that I got because I probably get a rail 3 to 4 times a year. And I recently got, I don't know if it's probably gonna air before this, I got Sheridan Deuce Thing statue, so that was a rail as well. But this is Star Wars Episode 11, which if you're thrown off by that, obviously there's not a Star Wars Episode 11. However, this is the 11th statue of Star Wars that I have reviewed. If you wanna check out the other ones, go check those out. One of them is another Darth Vader, who was kind of my substitute Vader, but now I'm gonna have 2. So this is quarter scale Darth Vader by Iron Studios. They made 1,000 of these and they retailed at $650. And I was really lucky actually. I managed to get him just over $700 shipped in perfect condition until I messed with it and I broke something on it, which we'll talk about. But really excited to have him, and many pieces are more impressive in person. This is times 5. This is 5 times more impressive than in person. And part of that is the size, part of it is just the amazing sculpt. So I love it when I'm excited to get a statue and then I get it and it's even better than I hoped for. This is the case with that. So this obviously is not a new piece. Most people who are watching this know about this piece, or they've seen other reviews, or they possibly own it. But just a kick-ass piece. I think right now it is the best Darth Vader statue out there. My other one that I reviewed is Darth Vader Mythos, which is really, really good. It kind of tells a different story. It's not really, the Mythos line is a comic line, so this is more true to the actual cinema, the films. But came in a standard box with 2 layers of white foam. Lots of different pieces to this guy. So first of all, his cape is a separate piece. It is mixed media, which we'll talk about. The base is one piece. However, there's quite a few hoses and pipes that you have to attach separately. Vader himself, his bottom portion and torso are all one piece. You do have to put on his belt, which is half mixed media, half sculpt, half electronics. That's 3 halves if you didn't get that. And then his chest plate also goes in via magnet, because both his chest plate and his belt are light up features, as well as his lightsaber, which I don't have batteries in right now for the lightsaber, but I'm sure it looks awesome. I'll have to test it sometime. And then obviously his helmet and then his arms. So there is no collector's exclusive edition to my knowledge. It's just one. Iron Studios typically doesn't do that. But there are a lot of switch outs with this guy. So let's look at those. First of all, you can pose it so both hands are holding the lightsaber, almost like it's a golf swing, but it looks really, really cool. Then you can also pose his right hand, that same right hand, holding the lightsaber by itself, as you see right here. Then if you didn't want to display him with the lightsaber, what you can do with the right hand is you can have his right hand down to the side in a fist like this. And they also have a lightsaber hilt, as you see here, you can hang on his belt. Then his left hand, you have a number of choices as well. First choice here you have is when he was telling Luke Skywalker, you don't know the power of the dark side in Empire towards the end, which this statue is from Empire. Another one you have right here is he is using the choke force hold. And the last one is the stupidest one I've ever seen in my life. He's pointing, "Hey, I got you, bud." So lots of different switch outs, lots of different combinations. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. After watching this right now, I almost feel like I want to change it to the choke force hold. Choke hold. I don't know. Does anyone ever use the Vulcan pinch? Remember that? I can't remember what they call it. But so lots of switch outs, lots of cool options. One note on here, the magnets on his arms are incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. So actually trying to pull one off, I damaged where one is inserted. You can see it right here. 2 tiny pieces. Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And as collectors, we get over that. I still do have the pieces. It would take someone with really tiny hands, not like a little person, but just somebody who's very steady, maybe a surgeon, to actually put those back in place, or somebody who normally works on painting or repairing statues. But you really can't see it. It's kind of hidden by the shoulder blades. So this is from Empire Strikes Back, the beginning. That's episode 5, episode 5. It's one of the original Star Wars episodes. And it's showing him on planet Hoth when he's tracking down the rebels right at the beginning, the very opening sequence. That entire movie is fantastic. And as I look at Star Wars statues and I think about Darth Vader to me is possibly my favorite villain. Definitely top 2, top 3 for sure. And I've talked about him being the most iconic villain. I think he may be. And what really disappoints me with Darth Vader is back in the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, he was fantastic and he was awesome for that time period. But when you look back now, there was so much more they could have done with him. For example, there's something on YouTube where they just re-engineered the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight from A New Hope. They could have shown him more powerful using his powers. When they made episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and they had Anakin transform into Vader, that was the biggest miss on the planet. It was bad acting, it was a bad storyline. They could have done so much more, and it's just disappointing. And I know people are going to hate me for this, but I honestly hope they remake the Star Wars movies in about 20 years. And they really not only use CGI, but they use an awesome storyline. And don't get me wrong, I love the original trilogy. I think it's fantastic, but I think there's some opportunity to do that. So we kind of started talking about the concept and design of this piece. Let's continue. So this is obviously emulating episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. The opening sequence of that is the rebels are on Hoth, an ice planet, and the Empire comes to seek them down, and most of them get away. And there's a big epic battle with, walkers and snow speeders, or whatever those are called. And at the end of it, Darth Vader lands, his ship lands, and he's walking through the caverns trying to find them. He really doesn't fight too much on the planet. Again, I think that's an opportunity they missed. They could have had a big battle where he took out a whole bunch of rebel people, kind of like they did on a Rogue Story, the very end of that, where they led up to episode 4. And here he is. So part of this is conceptual, part of his reality from the movie. He's on Hoth. His lightsaber's out. He's actually hit a few of these lines. He's cut them in half. And he's in a dynamic pose, an action pose coming forward. The design is really cool. I like how they did give you so many different options and switch outs. It almost tells a little bit different story. I don't like how difficult it is to get both of those hands in there. I think that's a design opportunity missed. But overall, I think this is an awesome story. The base is too big. It's way too big. So this is probably about 3 times, if not 3.5 times bigger than the Mythos base. And I understand the Mythos Darth Vader is only 1/5, where this is 1/4. But it takes up too much room, which is really unfortunate. Still going to keep him. Still going to display it. So I'm going to put him not with my Star Wars line, because I'll have 2 Darth Vaders. I'm going to keep the Mythos. He's going to be with my movie line, and I actually have a shelf that has movie semi-protagonist, semi-antagonist, which is exactly what Darth Vader is. He's a good guy and a bad guy. So some examples of people I have on there include Conan and Crow and Blade and T-800. So guys that played both good guys and bad guys. And there's another big one coming. Can't remember, but fits in the line perfectly. So let's talk about the paint and sculpt on this. And first of all, I think the base is all right. I'm not really super impressed by it. I think Darth Vader is amazing. I said it, amazing, even though he has a mixed media cape. But we'll start at the base. So the bottom of this base right here is this metallic, almost kind of reminds you of a ship or the base that they had on Hoth. You know, nothing really fancy about it. It looks okay. The snow, I think, is a miss. They didn't do a great job with the snow. It doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look good. The sculpt, there's not really good texture on it. They could have used some variations in the paint. They almost should have put some ice in there, as you see here. And if you want good snow, go look at my ARP Clash of Powers review. Go look at Prime 1 Mr. Freeze. That's really good snow. The snow on top of some of the pipe looks a little bit better. And on almost like the light or whatever that is that they had, the cables in the back. And all these different pieces, I do like the story that this is telling. It's really adding to the base, which they could have left it just plain. One really cool part about the base is they left a snow footprint, as you see right here on the bottom of his boots. I really like that part. It's a small detail, but it's really important. It means a lot. And then moving on to his boots, this is where it gets really good. The snow on his boots actually looks really good. I wish they would have done a better job on the base. But then fantastic sculpt on his boots. Has this leather type boots with these folds on them and stitching, and even the tread on the bottom looks great. Then he has his shiny shin pads, very Vader reminiscent. Looks really good. I like the design. I like how it pops. And those are strapped on to his boots that we just talked about. And then moving up to his knees and thighs, this is where it has that Vader costume, and it looks like mixed media, and it's sculpted in there. I love the design on it. I love the black color they used. Very different than the black on his cape or his boots or his shin pads. And there's some cool folds in there where he's walking and moving forward. Same with his loincloth. It is completely sculpted, looks like mixed media. And then looking at his belt and his chest plate here, it looks okay. It's a little toyish. They do light up, as I said. I'm not going to show that. You can look at some other reviews. Go check out Paradox Nerd. He has a good review where it lights up. But some opportunity, but it doesn't look bad at all. His gloves, fantastic sculpt on his gloves. Again, that same color that he has in his pants, and just the perforations of where he's bending and the folds that occur in it. And the same thing with the suit going up his arm. Very similar to his legs. Really, really cool. And then looking at his cape's okay. It's a mixed media cape. I'm not a huge fan of mixed media. I do like how they tried to add snow to the bottom of it to kind of follow the continuity of the story they're trying to tell with this statue. I'm horrible at posing capes, so it's going to sit as is. It's almost a little too much, but it doesn't really take away unless you're really examining that. And then moving up, his chest plate looks really cool, really clean. One thing I like about this is most of the statue is clean, so it is reminiscent. He just got off his ship and he hasn't done really any battle yet, or he's about to. But it has those grays and blacks in it. His shoulder pads, really shiny, really cool looking. Matches his shin guards and his helmet. This is a fantastic Vader portrait. They did a great job, not only on the coloring where it's more gray on the bottom and then the shiny black on top, but that sculpt. Really a big fan of this. Shows his breathing apparatus, or his vent over his voice, and his eyes just have those deep Vader eyes. It's actually reflective where you can see yourself inside of it. So that's Iron Studios quarter scale Vader. My opinion, best Vader statue currently out there. Let me know if you agree or you disagree with that. Let me know if there's one I don't know about. I'm a Star Wars fan. Who isn't? So this was Star Wars Episode 11. Please let me know your thoughts on this piece. Let me know if you have it, if you would buy it. Let me know if you buy any Star Wars pieces at all. If you like this, give me a like. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that and hit that bell. I drop regular content every other day. So really appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, take care.